Park tonight. I know they're playing there again on Monday. I don't want to take any chances if the damn thing just falls down by itself before then. Olbermann is next, and by the way, I'm Olbermann. But we begin tonight with a word about the closing of Candlestick Park in San Francisco. Yay! I know. If you saw Willie Mays play there, or if you saw The Catch, or if you saw your first game there, or if the Giants mascot Crazy Crab awarded you the quad the Candlestick there, or if you happen to be there on any of the 32 nice afternoons out of the 19,608 days since the damn place opened, you are bathed in nostalgia and recollection and warmth. For the rest of it, it's closing Monday? Can we make it any sooner? This is in the news today because Niners coach Jim Harbaugh is bathed in nostalgia and recollection, but not warmth. He has revealed that he first went to Candlestick as a 16-year-old, just after his dad, Jack, left his job as defensive backs coach at Michigan to become defensive coordinator at Stanford. They went to a Raiders-49ers game. I remember sitting there saying, it's not this cold back in Michigan. We had just moved to California. They said it was going to be cold. They had us kids in our warm jackets, but it was still cold. Sounds like a fairly ordinary football experience until you do the triangulation. Jack Harbaugh went to Stanford in 1980. Jim Harbaugh turned 17 on December 23rd of that year, so it was earlier than that. In fact, the Raiders-49ers game they shivered through was an exhibition, a preseason game, played at Candlestick on August 9th. Summer. You know what Mark Twain said, the coldest winter I ever spent was a summer in San Francisco, except there's no evidence Twain actually ever said that. And if that lie of history doesn't sell up Candlestick, I don't know what does. In the spring of 1958, just after he moved his team from New York, San Francisco Giants owner Horace Stoneham and soon-to-be Mayor George Christopher were escorted by a developer named Charles Harney to a place Harney owned called Candlestick Point. Harney made sure that Stoneham and Christopher came out in the morning. What they saw was beauty incarnate. Right on the water, view of the bay, easily accessible by many highways. Sure, there was no public transportation in a city that lived on public transportation. And sure, Harney was offering to sell it below market value. And sure, they were 9 miles from Alcatraz. And how Horace Stoneham didn't get the symbolism of being so close to the prison island still escapes me. But to Stoneham, who had largely left New York because his stadium had almost no parking, only to move to a densely built-up city in which 700,000 people were packed into only 49 square miles, and they had no parking themselves, there was room at Candlestick for at least 10,000 cars. So ground was broken on August 12, 1958, and not long after, Stoneham's surrogate, his general manager, Chub Feeney, went to have a look at this future home. He got to Candlestick Point in late afternoon and found work at a standstill. A construction foreman explained that the wind was gusting so badly that it was too dangerous to do anything but have the guys hold the materials down, especially the hammers and nails. Does the wind always blow like this? Feeney supposedly asked. No, came the answer. It gets worse in a few hours. We're supposed to be playing then. The foreman supposedly answered, good luck. And so the wind blew, and yes, in the 1961 baseball All-Star game played there, it caused pitcher Stu Miller of the Giants to lose his balance on the mound and commit a balk, although the popular description of Miller being blown off the mound is a little severe. And maybe it cost Willie Mays the all-time home run record, though career-wise, he actually hit 9 more homers at Candlestick than he did on the road. And it cost the Giants so much in attendance and psychological damage that they made a deal to move to Toronto, an exhibition stadium for the 1976 season, and after a good Samaritan bought them and kept them in SF, he made another deal to move them to St. Petersburg, to what we call the Trop now in 1992. I'm not denying there's history there. In that way, Candlestick is respectable. To repurpose John Huston's memorable line from Chinatown, of course I'm respectable. I'm old. Politicians, ugly buildings, and whores all get respectable if they last long enough. Give Candlestick its due. It lasted long enough. How many other stadiums survived massive earthquakes in the middle of the World Series?
And he fails to get Dave Parker at second base, so the Oakland A's take a
I'll tell you what, we're having an earthquake.
Live outside Candlestick Park, where according to reports locally, Northern California has just suffered its most severe earthquake since 1906.
There were 7 NFC Championship games in that building, all of them great, including the 2011 Kyle Williams disaster game won by the Giants in overtime. And there'd been a title game like 30 years earlier, and like I said, some people are still bathed in nostalgia and recollection and warmth about it.
The San Francisco 49ers prove once again why they have the best record in the NFL. Down by 6 points. With under 5 minutes to go, they had to go 89 yards for a touchdown. Well, the 49ers, in one of the best drives in NFL history, scored with under a minute to go, and they beat the Dallas Cowboys 28-27, and now it's on to the Super Bowl for the Niners.
What? But look, they made it serviceable for football, but otherwise the place was a dump. For baseball, there were no bullpens. Pitchers used to hide in this tiny little dugout, looked like a buried cage or a World War I trench. The visiting dugout was along the third base and the left field foul line, but the clubhouse for the visitors was in the right field corner. So before and after the game, the visiting team had to march the length of the field. The press box was nice, excellent wood paneling, separate compartments, a great bar during this service. Boris Stone had figured it out. If you kept the writers warm, they would not reveal that the place was a disaster. But it was a disaster. I mean, ask the Beatles. They played a concert at Candlestick on August 29, 1966. Capacity at the time, 42,500. Beatles crowd, 25,000. The band got about 90 grand for the gig, and everybody else lost money on the Beatles. And one of the opening acts, Bobby Hebb, stood up and sang his hit, Sunny, as the wind blew the fog in his face. And the Beatles came out to a half-empty Candlestick, everybody freezing. They played for about 35 minutes, and then they retired from touring and never gave an actual live concert again. One day at Candlestick, and they quit. And before they played their final song, Paul McCartney bade farewell to Candlestick Park. And if you want to attribute final words to the stadium, these will do as well as any others you could think of. We'd like to say that it's wonderful being here in this wonderful sea air. Sorry about the weather.